Hello, everyone. If you could not tell, I have showered recently. By recently, I mean just before doing this live, so my hair looks different. But you're annoyed by that, aren't you? You're gonna be like, "Oh man, why did you do this? Why did you shower? Your hair looks so gross. Why am I watching your content? Stop making content, bro." I really like to overthink things, don't I? Probably don't even care. There's even a good chance you don't even look at the screen, which I can't blame you because it's just my face talking. I'm too lazy and too not. I'm too lazy and too bad at stuff to actually be able to put photos in and whatnot. Round three, you get the drill. Only 29 rounds, and even then, the 29th one is another free space, so it's really only 28 serious rounds. At this point, I think the weakest episodes in these the weakest episodes at this point are still generally good. So it really is just figuring out which ones are lesser good. I fully expect this to be the most difficult round yet, purely because again we got some of the best episodes now. Well, The Simpsons has so many amazing episodes across its first eight kind of 9 seasons. I'm pretty sure at this point there's no season 10 episodes left at this point, which wow. But yeah, with that, let's get into it. Round one, we have season two's One Fish, Two Fish, Blowfish, Bluefish. Or is it Bluefish, Blowfish? You get the idea. Versus season eight's Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie. Again, these are two good episodes for two different reasons. The Blowfish episode has, again, it's season two, which in my opinion, season two, Simpsons at its best, is usually when it's about the character journeys. Because it's really not until late season three, debatably even season four, when it's really just more so about the comedy, hitting you with killer joke after killer joke. So for now, the show is really at its best when we're just seeing character stuff. And this is a really good episode. I really like this one. I doubt it would make it to round three if it wasn't. But Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie is such a good commentary on the show at this point. And plus, Itchy and Scratchy are such fun characters. Even when they have a random, even if we see a random Itchy and Scratchy episode, even though it typically could kind of come off as fillery, like it didn't need to be in the episode, I still generally like seeing them. And you know what? I think I have to give it to Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie. As much as I like One Fish, Two Fish, I think I just love Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie show just too much. It's not even the funniest episode. I think I just like the commentary in it. And plus, Poochie's such an awesome, he's such a hilariously 90s character. I love it. Round two, season six's Homer the Great versus season two's Homer versus Lisa and the Eighth Commandment. Again, I'm sorry, season two. You are a really good season, but I have to give this one to Homer the Great because, again, we're dealing with two different types of episodes, and I think Homer the Great is just such a funny episode. May arguably be within my top 20 of the whole show. It's honestly very difficult to pick out like my top. I think I have my top 5 perfectly nailed down, but it's top 10 and especially like top 20 that I think is very difficult to nail down because there's just so many amazing episodes, dude. And again, depending on what season you're watching, they could be really great for different reasons, which I think makes it even more difficult because of all these different styles while still being really good for a good amount of seasons. Point is, Homer the Great is the obvious winner. I love that episode to bits. Season 6 is A Star is Burns versus Season 3's Homer to Find. These are both pretty good, but again, A Star is Burns, I have to give it to that one. Although I have never seen The Critic, this is meant to be a crossover episode with, again, there's just some good moments in this one. I'm pretty sure I already said these exact same moments we're talking about this one around 2, but I'm talking about them again because they are just the best moments. Come on, Boo earns, man getting hit by football. I don't like Homer getting upset at Jay Sherman, who is the critic. Like that felt kind of just felt like the writers just desperately trying to find some sort of character arc for the characters to go through. But other than that, it's a mostly pretty good episode. Homer Define's also pretty good, but that one more so just for Homer's character and the B plot. All right, round 4. Season 5 is Rosebud versus Season 6's Jurassic 4 or 5. Finally, one that's not within like the first 3 seasons, where part of me always feels a little bad for saying that later ones are better, because I feel like the first 3 seasons don't really get talked about like as the best. Everyone always mostly talks about season 4 and later, but the first 3 seasons got some really good stuff in there too, which makes me really bummed that people aren't as positive on them. But for this one, I feel like this is a very easy win to Treehouse of Horror 5. Just easily, obviously, my favorite Treehouse of Horror and one of the best episodes of the whole show. Again, probably within my top 20 of the whole show. Rosebud is still pretty good, but I just think there's not much else to say. I just prefer Treehouse of Horror 5. Round 5. Season 7's Lisa the Vegetarian versus Season 2's Simpson and Delilah. Again, Lisa the Vegetarian. Again, Lisa the Vegetarian is just the poster child of what if we have the most basic plot ever, Lisa being a vegetarian. That sounds like the worst episode ever. But there's so many killer jokes in that one, and it just makes it one of my all-time favorites from Season 7. Simpson and Delilah I mostly love for Carl, and Carl's awesome, but he can't carry the whole episode. Lisa the Vegetarian superior. All right, now we got 2 great ones here. Season 3's Homer at the Bat versus Season 9's Das Bus. These are both pretty good. These are both great episodes. What am I talking about? I love both of these a bit, and they are both the best episodes of their respective seasons. Well, okay, I'm pretty sure City of New York is probably my favorite Season 9 episode, but Das Bus is probably a close second. I'd really have to get into my real reviews of the seasons to truly figure that nitty-gritty stuff out. Point is, though, I'd probably say Homer at the Bat is the superior episode. I think Homer at the Bat is the only episode of The Simpsons I can think of where the guest stars weren't boring and actually added something to the episode. What a crazy concept, am I right? Homer at the Bat is simply just amazing. Sorry, Das Boss. Alright, round 7. Season 2's 3 Men in a Comic Book versus Season 6's Springfield Connection. Now, I know I've been rather negative on Season 2. Season 2 has a lot of really good episodes, but don't really have a ton of that are like within the best episodes. But now I'm going to say 3 Men in a Comic Book is the superior episode. I really do enjoy that one. That's a really good one. Springfield Connection is also a pretty good episode, but the problem with that one is that it's the one with Marge being a cop, and it's a pretty good episode, but then, but I can't think of a lot of, standout moments about it. There's Homer not liking it at first because he feels emasculated, and then you have, I can't even remember a ton of, the best mements from it. I just remember it being a consistently pretty good one without having, a lot of highlights. 3 Men in a Comic Book also doesn't have, a bunch of highlights. I remember its parts more. Bart in the lemonade stand where he sells alcohol. You also got Bart having to do all these things for this old woman. Bart, Milhouse, and Martin having to talking about owning the comic book in his treehouse. So, it's more memorable. Next up, we have Season 2's Bart the Daredevil. We are talking about Season 2 a lot. Versus Season 4's I Love Lisa. Bart the Daredevil got the free space last time, so now it properly loses, but now it's some real competition. Yep, we love I Love Lisa on this channel. I just love Ralph, and unlike this little wiggy from Season 9, which was good, but also kind of just felt like more of a series of Ralph jokes more than a real story, I Love Lisa is okay, let's take this character who's always considered a joke, and let's do something real with them. What if we give him a really emotional story? And I just prefer that, I just think that makes for a more entertaining episode. Again, I Love Lisa is probably the best example where you have the perfect balance between having a lot of amazing S-tier jokes while still having a really sweet story. And that's what I really love about it. Round 9. Season 4's Homer's Triple Bypass versus Season 6's Lisa's Rival. I'm telling you, man, Lisa's Rival. People keep underselling Lisa's Rival. It is. I will stand by the fact it is one of the most underrated episodes the show has ever made. No one talks about Lisa's Rival like it's anything that's special. They just think of it as, oh, the one with the Homer Sugar Bee story, and oh, the one with Lisa getting like this other girl in school who's smarter than her. And all I could think is just, yeah, that is the story, but there's so many good jokes in it. Really underrated. Homer's Triple Bypass does have the emotional connection and all that, and admittedly, I feel a little sad that this is the episode that it gets beaten by, but again, you do have to remember that this is all my personal takes. In fact, I encourage you to tell me your opinions in the comments. Part of the reason I even did this channel in the first place is simply to talk about people about my opinions on shows. Round 10 is Season 7's Team Homer versus Season 1's Krusty Gets Busted. You got to give it to Team Homer. I think with this, Season 1 is officially out of the entire of any round. And I'm sorry about that, but also, come on, Team Homer is just too classic. The Pimp Pals, just really good stuff. A great episode. Round 11, Season 6's Bart's Comet versus Season 4's Camp Krusty. Bart's Comet is good. I'm honestly a little shocked it even made it to round 3. Camp Krusty is an obviously better episode in my opinion, though. I'm not sure if I talked about this in any of the rounds yet, but Camp Krusty was originally meant to be the Simpsons movie. I know, crazy given how long it took for them to finally even put out the Simpsons movie, let alone make it. I think apparently though the reason they said no to it though is because it was already difficult for them to make it a 22-minute episode. What chance could they have making a whole movie off of it? And admittedly, as much as I do think this is a pretty good, maybe even just straight up great episode, having a Simpsons movie where the parents get to do their own thing while the kids are at camp, it can make for a really good episode. But as a full movie, I do prefer what the actual Simpsons movie did in terms of having the whole family together for an adventure. I think that just works better as the Simpsons movie. Round 12, Season 2's Dead Pudding Society versus Season 5's Last Temptation of Homer. Last Temptation of Homer is just one of those, isn't a special collection of episodes where almost any other episode is put up against will lose to it. I'm not typically a big Homer Marge marriage crisis fan. I think it's one of the reasons why I like the middle to modern episodes like less, because there's so many that are just Homer does something wrong. Marge is hurt. Homer has to make up for it, and he does. Like, for Pete's sake, maybe do an episode where for once Marge is in the wrong, huh? Have you ever thought about that? No? Well, you've done almost 800 episodes. How can you not think of that? The only one I can think of where that happens is like Life on the Fast Lane, from Season 1. And that's like the only time they ever bother doing something kind of like that. Whatever, I'm being negative. I'm supposed to be positive. Last Temptation of Homer is the best marriage crisis episode because Marge doesn't do much, admittedly, but Homer. This is really Last Temptation of Homer, when you get down to it, is a story about a man who tries so hard not to cheat on his wife, but the entire world is pushing it to this guy. And it is so funny to watch because Homer's still a likable character. And it's still so funny. Dead Pudding Society still just has to settle with the tagline of still being one of my favorite Season 2 episodes. While not being able to make it past Last Temptation. Now this might be the most difficult one. Round 13. Homer versus the 18th Amendment and Homer's Enemy, both from Season 8. Last round I had to deal with Homer's Enemy versus You Only Move Twice. Why is Homer's Enemy going against two of my other favorite Season 8 episodes, which is Season 8 just is my favorite Season 2, by the way. I think Seasons 4 and 5 are very close to also being my favorite, but I think Season 8 always nudges it out, and this is such a difficult one. Homer versus the 18th Amendment is definitely the funnier episode, but geez, Homer's enemies just tell such a real raw story. I just can't help but respect it. While also loving it. Frank Grimes is in my top 10 favorite characters of the whole show. And he was only in one episode. Well, until they brought him back as a ghost in a Tress of Horror episode in the HD era. Because HD Simpsons desperately tries to remind you of back when the show was good, while pretty much being just a zombie version of itself. Like, I really don't like using the term zombie Simpsons, but I'm also not against people who use it because, yeah, it kind of is just a zombie. It's just doing the same plots and not being funny. Saying all this to distract myself from having to pick one, by the way. I think I just barely got to go with Homer's enemy. I think it's just overall. Well, I think Homer versus the 18th Amendment is a more fun episode and has better, more consistent jokes. And again, if you only care about jokes, I feel like you'd instantly prefer that one. But I think Homer's enemy as a whole is a more complete package. Next up is the battle between two season 4 episodes. Duffless and Krusty gets canceled, and Duffless is the obvious superior episode in my opinion. Krusty gets canceled is pretty good. It's probably second to Homer at the bat in terms of me actually not minding guest stars being in an episode. One personal pet peeve I have of shows is when they just have guest stars, by the way, when they're just like, they put everything on pause just to be like, hey, look at this famous person. Isn't it so cool that we got this famous person on the show? Again, I think the season 10 episode When You Dish Upon a Star is the best example of why I hate these episodes so much. Because at some point you stop having a story just about the guest star. So episodes like Krusty Gets Canceled, I definitely can respect for doing this well. But Duffless is just such a better episode. It has a nice emotional end and is, in my opinion, just a more consistently funny episode. For round 15, the 138th episode Spectacular from season 7 versus season 5's Homer the Vigilante. Man, 138th episode Spectacular is always going to be one of the episodes I respect the most. That doesn't make it one of my favorites, not by a long shot, but it is so cool. The framework of this episode is so cool, and I don't think any episode of any show will ever replicate it, and that's what makes it even better for me. It is just going through a bonus menu. This is like the third time I've said it. I say it every time I talk about this episode, but that's because it's the best way to describe it. But oh man, Homer the Vigilante. Season 5 I think season 5 is the most consistently funny season of the show, and Homer the Vigilante is one of my favorites from season 5. People don't really talk about Homer the Vigilante that positively, but I really do love it. I think it's an amazing episode. And it does defeat the 138th episode Spectacular, which I'm pretty sure I said this around 1, but I do not even consider that a clip show. But if you do, if you're one of those people, then congratulations. I guess we're officially done with the clip shows. So. Stay hydrated. Stay Pepsi. Pepsi, please sponsor me. I'm desperate. I'll even be all like, get 50% off your Pepsi orders by typing www.zman.com. Pepsi, come on, man. You know you want me. I could be your everything. You and me could be one. Pepsi. Oh my god, excuse me. I'm not the only one who burps a lot, but like when I drink Pepsi, right? That's just a common thing, right? Round 16. Season 7's 22 short films about Springfield versus season 6's Homie the Clown. I said season 7 for 22 short films, right? Probably not. I probably goofed there. 22 short films wins. Homie the Clown is still pretty good, but I think 22 short films is more unique, more memorable, and is overall just a superior episode. Obviously, we all love 22 short films for the Pulp Fiction parody. I have never seen that movie, but I know it's a parody. Gosh dang it. See, it's funny because because you thought I was going to say the meme we all know from that episode, and that's we all know secretly that that's the best part of that episode. We all try to pretend it's not because it's a meme. We all want to be the cool people who are like, no, not the meme. The meme's just part of this episode. But it's not the only thing I love about this episode. That we gotta remember. See, this is good. I feel like since I'm not doing as many of these brackets, I feel like I can more clearly talk about these episodes. Season 4 is Lisa the Beauty Queen versus Season 3's Bart the Murderer. Lisa the Beauty Queen is a pretty funny episode. Bart the Murderer is a good Bart episode. It's fun. It's entertaining. Lisa the Beauty Queen beats it. It's pretty good, but the fact it's going to enter round 4 is honestly kind of funny to me. Like, it's not that good, but it's somehow, like, it's really good, but it's not like one of the all-time greats, and it's still somehow entering the 4th round. But that's the fun thing about, like, tier lists, like, about brackets like these, you know? All right, Season 4 is Last Exit to Springfield versus Season 2's Oh Brother Where Art Thou? I've said this enough. Last Exit is one of my favorite episodes. No duh, that's the winner. Sorry, Oh Brother Where Art Thou? The first of Herb Homer's Half Brother episodes. You are great. One of Season 2's finest. It's just a shame you had to go up against one of the funniest episodes of any TV show ever created. 2 Season 6 episodes are next. Grandpa versus Sexual Inadequacy and Fear of Flying. Ooh, this is a tough one, chat. I think Fear of actually, does it win? No, I'm gonna go with Grandpa. I think I think I love Fear of Flying so much because I remember having an amazing opening bit, and the March Therapy stuff is good character stuff. Like, that's pretty good on a character basis. It's really when you think of it, but really, it's not the funniest, which is why I think I prefer the Grandpa episode. It's more consistently funny, and I really love it. This and Lisa's Rival, I think, are the two big underrated episodes that they're both from Season 6, which, although Season 6 isn't one of my favorite seasons, I feel like Season 6 is generally considered to be the show's best, which makes it funny that it has 2 episodes I think people seriously overlook. 2 Bart episodes are next. Boy Scouts and the Hood, and Bart Sells a Soul. Boy Scouts is funnier, but Bart Sells a Soul is a more enjoyable episode due to it having a good lesson about the soul. The Mo B plot was pretty good. I don't think I even mentioned that part yet. Millhouse is at some of his funniest with his Alf Pogs. You remember Alf? He's back in Pog form. I love it. It's another amazing episode. And then Lisa buying Bart's soul and giving it to him at the end. That brother-sister bond. As much as I don't like Lisa as a character, it's surprisingly, I think she's at her best when she's paired with Bart or Homer. Or, actually, I know, Marge Lisa's still good too. They just don't show it much. So I think I always prefer Lisa when she's like with another family member, never when she's just by herself. That's crazy. All right, next up we have Lemon of Troy from Season 6 versus Jurassic 3 from Season 4. Because the Jurassic 4 always has to be one off from the season. And that'll be one of those little things about life that will always bug me. Okay, Jurassic 3. I'm finally going to remember all 3 segments. Zombies. Killer Krusty Doll. No, I'm just joking. King Kong Comer, I know that one. But sadly, sorry, Jurassic 3, but I think I prefer Lemon of Troy, and I think that's it with the Jurassic 4s. Now it's only Jurassic 5 that is left, which makes sense when you remember that the Jurassic 4s are not even my favorite episodes, typically, so I think it honestly makes a lot of sense why, yeah. Season 2's Brush of Greatness versus Season 9's Bart Star. Bart Star is an amazing episode. I don't even care about football, but I think it's just one of the best sport episodes. One thing I will say about Bart Star, I think it has the best celebrity appearance of the whole show. Not the best use, that's Homer at the bat, but the best individual scene that involves a guest star. Because they have this, I think, famous football star, and he's going to help Bart train. And he's like, all right, you got to remember this advice. But I think his girlfriend or like partner, she's just like, we fixed the tire, and he's like, bye. So Bart's still trying to be good, but he's just remembering the stuff the guy said, and it's not even like actual advice. It sounds horrible when I describe it, but when you watch the episode, it cracks me up. You also have the nice little King of the Hill reference, which although I have not seen a ton from that show, I am probably like in roughly 2-ish weeks, probably a little less than a week. I am finally going to be properly watching its first season. So, round number 23, A Streetcar Named Marge from season 4 versus Radioactive Man from season 7. Streetcar Named Marge, you did well. Radioactive Man, funnier episode. The Homer part of Streetcar Named Marge always felt kind of underdeveloped to me. Like they could have gone further with it, but they just didn't, so it's always been a little weird. Still a pretty good episode. I just think it could have been better. Round number 24. This one hurts because we have two of my favorite season 2 episodes. Way We Was and Bart Gets an F. I love both of these. I don't want to hurt either of them. I don't want to have to go them up. I'm going to text them and be all like, it's not you, it's me. Now, but for real, though, I think Way We Was is my favorite flashback episode, but Bart Gets an F is the most relatable episode, and I think Bart Gets an F slightly edges it out. Neither of them, I think they're on equal footing humor-wise. Neither of them are the funniest episode ever, but Bart Gets an F is such an emotionally intelligent episode. And I think the best thing about it is that it completely breaks down why school is stupid and why we do not need school. Which I will always, coming from someone like me who is terrible at school, I think I've always been bad at school, so I am definitely all for an episode that supports how terrible school is. Okay, round number 25. We're nearing the end of this, and I still think this is going to be longer than my round 2 video because of that stupid stream error, which is why I have the little thing, by the way. That's why I didn't remove it, so I wouldn't have to get rid of that. So I wouldn't have to accidentally end the stream and then have to rush through it. All right, for number 25, we actually have season 10's Wild Barts Can't Be Broken. Genuinely forgot that there was a season 10 episode still here. And then season 6 is Lisa on Ice. Lisa on Ice is the superior episode. Sorry, Wild Barts Can't Be Broken, but Lisa on Ice just has the perfect blend of, being a sibling rivalry and still being, like, telling that great story and them killer jokes. It's a balance I honestly wish more shows used, because when it's done well, it is done so amazingly. Round number 26. Season 8's Hurricane Eddie, Season 7's Two Bad Neighbors. Both are about... I'd probably say Hurricane Eddie is the better episode. Two Bad Neighbors is fun, but Hurricane Eddie... Ned is a character that we've known for a long time, so getting an exploration of his character will be fun. Plus, it's just a more enjoyable episode. Sorry, Two Bad Neighbors. You're another guilty pleasure underrated one. But Hurricane Eddie is obviously better. All right, for round number 27, we have Cape Fear versus In Maggie Makes 3. Cape Fear, again, one of the funniest episodes of anything ever. Sorry, In Maggie Makes 3. Again, you have a better balance, but when Cape Fear's funny, it hits hard. That's what she said. I think I made a similar joke in my last round. Wow, I am so unfunny. Round number 28, the battle between the two season 5 episodes, Homer Goes to College and Dollar Sign Pringfield, which I have recently rewatched a Simpsons video that was made like a year ago that I saw a long time ago, and they called it Dollar Sign Pringfield too, but I completely forgot about that. Did I subconsciously think that about it? Like, is it's always been in the back of my mind, and I decided just to use it as well? Crazy if that is what happened. I will not have to call it that anymore, though, because I prefer Homer Goes to College. I think Springfield, aka $Springfield, would be better. But the first part of it was always kind of meh. Like, I always kind of just waited around until Burns builds that dang casino already, and then that's where all the fun happens. And then for the free space finale, we have a Millhouse Divided, one of my favorites from season 8. Let's go. It probably would have won out against a majority of these anyway, but hey, why not? Let's just get it in here anyway. All right, so in terms of the winners, we have Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie, Homer the Great, Stars Burns, Dress of Horror 5, Lisa the Vegetarian, Homer at the Bat, 3 Men in a Comic Book, I Love Lisa, Lisa's Rival, Team Homer, Camp Krusty, Last Temptation of Homer, Homer's Enemy, Duffless, Homer the Vigilante, 22 short films about Springfield, Lisa the Beauty Queen, Last Exit to Springfield, Grandpa versus Sexual Inadequacy, Bart Sells a Soul, Lemon of Troy, Bart Star, Radioactive Man, Bart Gets an F, Lisa on Ice, Hurricane Nettie, Cape Fear, Homer Goes to College, and A Millhouse Divided. That will leave 15 episodes for the next round, which sounds absolutely wild. Let me know, were there any episodes in this round that were obviously deserved to be in here, still in the poll? Am I dumb? Am I lazy? Probably, but regardless, I will see you guys next time for round 4. Peace.